Forever is the strangest thing. It's shorter than you think. Now think. Forever is the strangest thing. It's shorter than you think. Now think.
What's up, y'all? Hope everybody having a great and productive day. Okay, I gotta respond back to BB. BB. There we go. All right. I hope everybody's having a great and productive day, y'all. I want to give a big shout out to my subs, my moderators, my members. Thank y'all. Thank y'all a lot. I really appreciate y'all and everything that y'all have done and are doing. Okay. I'm watching my other one. Tonight's live is pretty much going to be about the part 2 and 3 breakdown that Steve and Chris did on Don Wheels. Okay. Yeah, so I did a little poll and my members would like to do members only live chat. So I specifically made this chat just the members only. It's not a big deal. Just something for them because I haven't, I've been so busy with these cases. I haven't had a chance to make any, videos or nothing like that specifically for them. So like I try to do every week, I try to do something, for the members, So this is what I'm doing for them. But everybody is free to watch. That's why I didn't do it on members only live stream because I want everybody to get, to be able to watch and get this information. But yeah, so y'all already know how I'm gonna start. I'm going to read some comments from first and foremost, let me say shout out to John Q. Okay. John, your lab is 4 hours, but I am halfway through. I'm halfway through, John. I'm halfway through. The lab was beautiful. Oh my God, I wish I was up. I really would have went in there and supported the definitely willing and supported for Classic and Sincere. Like I said, we're still doing a lot of work on Classic and Sincere, and just trying to bring those boys home wherever they might be. So make sure y'all are actually calling Bakersfield PD. Please make sure y'all call Bakersfield PD and get them to come out and make a statement. So y'all definitely, please, when y'all get a chance tomorrow, 12 o'clock, everything that John advised y'all to do, yeah, let's get on that because they need to let us know where those boys is. They need to find those boys, okay? They need to get on that soon as possible, okay? Soon as possible. Yeah, that needs to happen ASAP. Um, what else? Okay, so let me go ahead. So yes, y'all make sure y'all do that because we still want to update on Classic and Sincere. So please, y'all get on it. Get on that call and report for Classic and Sincere and have them tell us something, anything. We need to know something. Are they were they searching next for the boys? We need to know something. So I'm definitely on board with what John Q is doing. So I'm definitely on board. So yeah, y'all please call. Okay, so let's pull up a few comments from the last video. Okay, well, let me. Uh, okay, so from the last video, Beth Flynn says narcissists think they are smarter than everyone. Um, Bella 2021 says that please Steve did to Don at the end of last night's interview room really moved me. I hope it moved on. They need to tell the truth. It's gone on long enough. Tina Adams says, you're right, Don lied too much. Lauren Noel says, I had to go back and watch Tiffany Marie's video about the last image of summer. Oh my word. Those fingernail beds and the apple blossoming pink and white color around her mouth make me shut up with rage. Tina Adams says, lie not gonna get you nowhere. A lot of red flags when Chris was talking to Don. Definitely, I agree with that. LaKendra says, you was head on like always. I feel the same way. Shout out to you, boo. Denise Watson says, the truth is going to come out sooner than later. Prayers for summer. Drowny. Giant red flags with the pictures at the job site. I'm the mother of daughters, and that is 100% inappropriate for a multitude of reasons. That tells everything about their boundaries. Yikes. The second biggest red flag is the punishment of the perpetrator. You kidnap my kids, you better pray the cops find you before I do. I'm 1,000% with you on that, Drowning. People want to excuse and minimize consequences when they are responsible for said crime. Not saying he did it, but I'll be shocked if he's telling any bits of truth. Great coverage of this, queen. Shout out to you. Tay Tay says, you're saying the same things I've been seeing. It appears Summer was treated differently than the boys. I'm not sure, but it appears she was treated differently. Interesting. TJ Cook says, when Don did his replay of what he did that day, he pulled up the driveway and the dogs were there and not one barked. Well, let me just say this, TJ. It's obvious the dogs, know who Don is, and he's probably been on the property. Okay. So if y'all recall, when Chris pulled up at the bottom with Candace, the dogs ran to him and barked. But as he went up and he was there for a little while, they didn't bark no more. So like I said, it goes to how long Don was on the property and them knowing him. Okay, if the dogs sense an unfamiliar person, plus they're going to meet you down wherever you are to see who you are. And if they know you, they're not going to react or bark or go crazy. They're just going to be going about their business. All right. Greens B52 says, don't forget to give Queen a thumbs up. Thank you, boo. MH says, so now Don's saying the boys were with him, but Candace says they were home. This man's an idiot. Rusty Blue says, I get a cut feeling in this case. Thanks, Queen, for keeping it real. Always Rusty. Phoenix, good afternoon, beautiful Queen. I think Don added a couple of dogs because no dogs don't make sense. True. Just like no cops were there, and now one or two cops might have been there. Don is covering his butt or covering all his bases. Adapting, yes, on the 911 dispatch, it says father advised he's at work about an hour away. He's making his way home. Mother went for a walk. When she came home, she couldn't find her daughter. They've been yelling for about 10 minutes now. Eventually, Candace says, run, because another cop asked the dispatcher something about a run. Can't stop thinking of Samantha running after what you said about the DNA. They found Samantha's tears on the passenger side of the door. Oh, yes, we'll find the person who did this to someone. Yeah, I didn't want to think about that, but thank you, baby. That was sad. Finding that baby's tears on the side of that man's door. So sad. All right, Paisley Dreams. I can imagine a man who seems to have so much control over his family that his wife calls him first before 911 when their child is missing. That man wouldn't want to personally punish the kidnapper of his only daughter. DW's with Don Wells' words. Just don't pass the smell test for me. He may be innocent. I don't know, but sure doesn't look innocent. Just my opinion. I'm with you, Paisley. Rebecca. I think I'm going to let this be the last one so I can get into the video. Rebecca says there are 8 of his dogs in the photographs when the sheriff was there, and I saw 3 bloodhounds, which were obviously cadaver dogs, so the pics showed them clearly. And I think Rebecca is talking about when Don stated that there were no dogs there, when we actually photographs and heard of Candace saying that the dogs was there. I think that's what she was referring to. One more. I'm going to say, a waitress. Did you see the video of Don showing the sheds? When he gets out of the truck by the house, the dogs don't bark. They want me to go look at this video. We already know that Don is narrating, so I'm going to go see what he's narrating soon. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. A lot of people commented multiple times. So long as I just get at least 1 or 2 of their comments, then I think, yeah, they will be fine. Okay. I told BB how to join. Okay. I think he must have an iPhone or iPad. That button don't come up with an iPhone or iPad. He would have to get on like an Android or a smartphone, from what one of my people told me. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this video. I have a lot of information I want to get through. Okay, I really do have a lot of information. A lot. So let me go ahead and get started. But y'all know I like to definitely read my my comments before I get started, okay? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna start with part 2. And get started with part 2. Okay, so I do want to start off and say that Chris and Steve, they did a great job. They did a great job. So shout out to them for that. They did a great breakdown. A lot of things that they did address, us on my channel has already addressed and went over completely. So with that being said, they did a wonderful job. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful job. Okay. Breaking this down. Okay. Um, at the beginning of the part 2, Chris stated that everyone is innocent and proven guilty. So we already know, we're just analyzing, breaking down what we see, what his phone call was, what the statement was, what they went over. We don't know who did it, who was the reason or the cause of Summer Wells going missing. We don't know. Okay, we're just analyzing, talking about what we see, pointing out red flags, just that simple, just that. Okay, so yeah, they already said that. So nobody is guilty. They're innocent until proven guilty. All right. And also the number one objective is always Summer Wells. Summer Wells is number one objective. Okay. Um, so Steve observed Don addressing that, and this is part 2. If y'all go back to part 2, because I will be going straight from part 2 right into part 3. Okay. Straight into part 3. So Steve observed Don, never addressing that he didn't do this. So if you do recall, Don never admits that he did not do anything, have anything to do with someone going missing, or he never says, I didn't do this. I don't have nothing to do with this. He never admits or says anything about him not having anything to do with Summer's disappearance. Okay. And that is true. That is true. He did. Yeah. He's never said that. I've never heard him say that. So y'all let me know if you've ever said that. Okay. Steve and Chris also talked about him casting blame. Okay. They not acknowledge him casting blame. And we did catch that because Don always, it has to be someone else's fault. It's never him. He's never responsible for anything, nothing. Even in his past, even when he went to jail last year, um, the altercation he had with Jose and Candace, he's never held responsible for nothing. He casts blame onto other people, and that's always how Don has been. He likes to cast blame. Okay. In part 2, Steve mentioned that something is up with the car. He said something's up with the car. And the reason why I believe he said something was up with the car is because he made it important that when the police was there, he wanted to get to his car. He wanted to search his car. And then he wanted to go talk to neighbors. And he just made certain details. He just kept referencing to this car. So Steve pointed out that something might be up with this car. I don't know what it is. I think if we keep watching and paying attention, going over things, it will come out eventually. And it's in the details. We'll catch it. What's going on or what's going up with the car, because we don't know. But he said something up with the car. And we know that Don switched cars that day. That's the day he got the premonition that I need to start driving this car. I need to start putting miles on this car. Okay. So I think that's another reason why Steve felt the way he felt about something's up with this car. Okay. Or he needed the car for something else, or something that he might have wanted to do. Something he did different that day. He needed the Subaru. Okay. He needed the Subaru. We also noticed that Don unconsciously tells on himself. Okay. Unconsciously tell us things. And that's just my opinion. I noticed he says things that he doesn't know he's saying, and he has to catch himself, and he has to go back and revise whatever he is saying that he don't want to slip. He has to over explain and break down because he done said too much. Okay. He done said too much. So I did notice that, and they Steve and Chris pointed that out. But I think Steve pointed that out mainly. Steve feels Don is leaving out information. We addressed that Don is leaving out a lot of information, and we know that because there's holes, hours of um information that's missing that me and John are working on filling in actually. Um, but yeah, there's holes and gaps of information that's gone, that's not available. Gaps and holes of information. Okay. But remember I said that there's more that's gonna come out and there's more that we don't know. And right now we're waiting on law enforcement for that information. I'm gonna ask a question. Um, and people can leave a comment uh, or jot it down at the end of this live in the comment section if they want to. But I want to know who feels Don essayed Summer. Because I know some people feel like Don did it, and some people feel like Don didn't do it. That maybe he didn't get a chance to. But I would love to know, me personally, if you felt that Don essayed Summer or he's had the chance to essay her. Um, but what I have to say about that is if she hasn't been before, if she would have still been in that situation, the probability of Summer Wells being essayed is high to me. Just by Don's Wells' past behavior in yeah, and what he likes. His pattern. I honestly believe if she was still in this situation, the probability will be high for Summer being essayed. Uh, it just runs rapidly in this family, mainly by the males in the family. I think Don's stepfather molested his stepsisters or his sisters, and then Don molested stepsister. So it's just a whole dysfunction of essaying. Um, so the probability for little Summer Wells would have been very high, in my opinion. Very, very, very high. So yeah, y'all leave that comment at the end of the video if you would like. I would like to know that. Steve did relate Don to grooming. Um, goes along with the essay in having control. He brought up him grooming Summer. Okay. Um, and he said he spoke a lot about her being under his control and what he used to do to basically maintain control with Summer. So Steve pointed that out. A lot of this essay observations I did not catch. Even though I knew what he's done, I didn't observe all of that. So they really gave us a lot of great information on what to look for and how to find it. We just in a conversation. interview, you know. So a lot of the essay observations I did not catch. Um, but Steve, he caught it. He was on it. Okay. Yeah. Also, Chris told us in that part two, if you go back, that Dawn allegedly called stepsister and asked her to stop. Basically telling her story, telling us about what he did to her. Allegedly, he called his stepsister, asked her to stop. And my question is, why? I mean, is it bothering you that she's talking and she's telling her story? Is it affecting you? Why do you feel the need to call her and ask her to stop? And that's just, I thought that was a very big. I mean, was there an apology in there? I'm sorry I did this to you. I'm sorry I ruined your life. I mean, was there any of that in there? I'm just wondering how that phone call really went. I really would like to know how that phone call went when he called her. I would have loved to know. I know that was something probably very painful for her as a SA victim. Definitely very painful. Um, which we all know that Don previously implied that it was a consensual situation, but we know that it was not consensual. Because the baby, she was a baby. She was 5, and he was 12. So, I mean, a 5-year-old can't consent to sexual acts. A 5-year-old does not even know what they're even doing. And this is learned behavior. Obviously, this is learned behavior. It's not something you just pick up on the side of the street. This is not that. Okay. So I definitely want to address that. Just want to touch on the key things. Stephen Chris also talked about a lot of the death and kill words that reflects on how Don is thinking. Um, he does talk about that a lot. He talks about God, death, um, Christ, praying. It's almost like they know, but not saying that she's never coming back. That Summer's never coming back. So I definitely agree with them, when they're observing the death and the finalization words that Don uses a lot, even from the beginning when he first came out on his when he first came out on the news clips. He used that then. Okay, he really did. He did. So yeah, I definitely agree with them on that. Then Steve pointed out more possible grooming points on the Don could have been doing. Um, yeah, to me, it's just very sick. It's very sick, and I really don't even like thinking about him doing anything to a baby. But we deal with a lot of these people all the time, so it's very sick. And what brought Steve to even address it is how Don speaks to Summer, how deeply with the love that Don goes. And I don't even think he realizes how he expresses his love for Summer that is completely different than his love that I ever hear him express for Candace. So y'all pay attention to that because I never like I paid attention. I know she's missing, so I would expect Don to talk about his daughter. But if you observe, he never really talks about Candace in that way. Like he's in love with his wife, Yeah, he's never talked about her like that. So I just thought that was very, very. Yeah, he talks to like not hair in my mouth, like intimate, intimate moments, very detailed. Um, yeah, yeah, I missed that, and Steve and Chris caught that. So yeah, they made a very good point. Now when they stated, I go back and I look over things, and it makes perfect sense. Perfect, perfect sense. I see things that they pointed out. Okay. Um, Summer is at the age of a stepsister when he essayed her. So I mean, I guess that's where people are making the connection that Summer could have been a victim of Don's. Okay. They Stephen Chris also talked about alibi building. And they felt that it's another reason that Don took the Subaru that day. And I'm inclined to agree. Because I personally look for things that he did different that he don't normally do out the norm on that particular day. And that particular day, he took the Subaru and not his normal work truck. And that would have been outside the norm for Don. So yeah, that looked very weird. And I observed that that's not in the norm for Don. So yeah, I agree with them with the alibi building and another reason of why Don took the Subaru. They also talked about Don paying a lot of attention to time. Okay. He was very big on time. Very, very big on time. He was. He wants everything to fit perfectly, plan everything out. It all has to be in perfect timing, or the narrative is not going to fit and the narrative is not going to work. Everything has to be in order, or the abduction narrative is not going to play. But me and John already worked out by going back to the beginning how the abduction would play out. It just puts Candace off the property. Okay. So it would play out, but it would put Candace off that property, meaning she left that property without Summer or with Summer. We don't know. But he stated himself on dispatch call, which puts Candace off that property, which got me thinking. It puts Candace off property. Mm-hmm. And that gives him the abduction theory. That opens the door for his abduction theory. It really does. Um, yeah, it does. But at the same time, Don and Candace don't want to admit of a person, a friend that been staying on the property. They are not admitting to that. They're acting like H does not know what he's talking about when they bring up the friend that's been on the property for allegedly 2 weeks, that has a fall. Remember, he said he had a falling out with his wife, and he stays over there sometimes in the shed. Don and Candace pushed that possibility out the window. And I am questioning why. That would be a valid suspect for your abduction theory. So why isn't he a valid suspect? That's a man that's been on your property for possible 2 weeks, but y'all don't want him to be a possible person of interest. Y'all just knocked that out the way. Y'all wanted to be just a stranger abduction. But why not? Why aren't we looking at all persons of interest that was on that property? That's what y'all want us to look at, right? So why not your friend that been on the property? It's like they don't want to talk about him. They don't want to put him on the property. So I just want y'all to be mindful of that person that H brought up that will stand on the property in some sheds. Okay? Sometimes, for what they said. Sometimes he will stay in the shed. So I'm wondering why they just won't talk about him or won't have him as a person of interest. Why not him? You want stranger abduction. Why not him? I'm just wondering because H did bring him up, and Chris asked Candace, asked Don, and they shooed that one out the way. And they even said he wasn't on the property. So I'm really thinking about I'm trying to figure that one out too, you guys. I'm trying to figure that one out. Don also talked about, he don't trust the police. And this is what Steve and Chris pointed out. Don displays his distrust for police, but yet he told Candace to call the police. I did think that was kind of funny. And then he also explains about the messages being deleted. And that's going to go towards my theory I'm working on with John. The messages didn't just disappear off of his phone, grandma's phone, and Candace's phone by miraculously. I think there's something very important from 3:30 on that is not want to be seen. Okay. Well, we know law enforcement knows because they can get into those messages and see what was said, right? But it's something that they don't want seen or shown from 3:30 on. And that goes into those hours that we have missing in the timeline. It goes to what I think it all started going down. Um, so I'm working on that, and when I'm done working on with John with that, we will bring it to this platform or his platform, either one. But we're gonna bring it to the light and let y'all know what we come up with. Um, because I think it started going down about 3:30. Whatever happened, it happened, started, I believe, around 3:30. And then I questioned, did Summer ever make it home? Because y'all remember in the beginning, we was trying to figure out, and some people are saying this, they don't think she ever made it home. And it makes you wonder, did Summer Wells ever make it home? For sure, without a shadow of a doubt. So it makes you wonder, you know, is it possible? Yeah, anything's possible. Anything's possible. She possibly didn't make it home. We don't know for sure. But 3:30, it's something about 3:30. Okay. And I think that's when things started to kick in place, kick in high gear. Things started to just happen. Okay. Things started to just happen. And that's something I'm going to share with y'all when I'm finished putting it together with John. And yeah, because I want to know what was so important on why it needed to be deleted. What was so important from 3:30 on? Why we deleting messages? They also talked about Don driving straight to the shed. Is significant, very significant. That the shed is significant to Don. It's important. And something with this shed is important. And I guess they call him referencing the shed throughout this interview. So they caught that. I thought it was weird him driving straight to the shed. Then he later on adapts from driving to the shed to going down to the creek and then going into the shed. But at first he did say he went straight to the shed, but he later changed it. But I thought it was weird when he first said he went straight to the shed. So I can kind of see why they would say, it's important. Because, yeah, why would you drive straight to the shed? Your kids and your wife is at the house. So I'm going to go straight to the house and he'll look for my kid. I don't think I would go straight to the shed because I don't know. They might have found her by now. She might still, she might be at the house. I don't know. Let me go check at the house first, check in with them, and then go down and look. That's what I would think. But maybe that's just me. Um, I do think it's something we don't know about the sheds. Um, I don't know if Ellie searched all the sheds. I would assume around that property they've searched all the sheds. But there's a lots of sheds in other areas as well. So that's why, like I said, for the people, I think one other person is supposed to be meeting me this weekend. When we head down this weekend and do, some searches, um, yeah, some sheds might be hit this weekend. And I'm not saying all places I'm searching because, like I said, I know people are watching. And yeah, when you do your searches, yeah, it's best to keep those things on the low. And when you're done, if you want to post where you searched and what you found, then definitely I think that's okay. But before you go do something, I think people should don't tell what you're about to do. Don't tell the left hand what your right hand is doing. Okay. I think we should still stick to that because it's an active investigation. Okay. So for the people that are going, y'all got my contact information and we will meet up and do what we need to do this weekend. Okay. Where are we? They observed Don's patterns of lies. Okay. I knew he was a liar because he's caught. I mean, we've talked about a couple of lies that we've heard from Don, but they caught a complete pattern of Don in his lies. They caught a complete pattern. So I thought that was very interesting. Um, yeah, very interesting, very deceptive. All throughout his interview, very deceptive, leaving out information. Okay. Um, they also said Don had anxiety. He was having. They could tell they could sense some anxiety. Um, when talking about the shed. with Chris. Um, and it's the little things. It's the little things. So you just gotta pay attention to the little things. Cause like I said, it's gonna be the details that tell you about Summer. I had one particular person today, and I guess she decided to remove herself before I removed her ass. But she said something like, "This is what I don't know what she said. It was something about this is not about Summer," and she just vanished before I had a chance to do anything. But you know, this is about Summer. She was last with her parents, like me and John said in my live. What better place to start is with the last persons she was with. Listen to what they have to say in detail, and it's in there. That's where you start. Just like where the police started, at the house with, she was supposed to be with what, her mother. I mean, you that's where you start. So, like I said, I just thought that was like funny. It was like this the only way right now until Ellie comes back with DNA, phone pings, all of that. That's definitely gonna lead them to her. You know, when they get more evidence back. But we don't have that. Ellie don't have that. So guess what? They gotta go. They gotta listen to what they're saying, analyze it. Anything strange, inconsistencies is gonna guide them to this baby. If the parents did it, I'm just saying because they haven't. We don't have any evidence or proof that the baby was abducted. We just don't. We just don't. And I don't see law enforcement pushing towards the abduction theory. Not at all. I just noticed them just in the area, consistently searching that area. So for some reason, law enforcement feels that baby is in those woods or out there by that house. I'm just saying. If they felt, in my opinion, that she was abducted, I mean, I feel like they will be doing a lot more. They'd be going a different direction. And that's just without saying. It's like if you see what they're doing for Michael Vaughn, there is evidence that that baby might really been. So they're moving a whole nother way with Michael Vaughn. I don't see that here. I don't see them going no direction of abduction, but just they want you to look out for a little red truck. Nothing else. They have not done nothing else like far as in the abduction area. Um. So yeah, we haven't seen anything. So I just want y'all to just notice that. I pay attention to everything. I pay attention to everything. Oh yeah, he did say Don did. They pointed out that Don said after he checked the shed, well, first he went down to the creek where he saw his boys. Then he went back up the steep bank and checked the shed. This is the revised statement, okay, with voices. He went down the bank, saw his boys, checked by the creek, turned around, came back up, checked inside the shed, and that's when he knew she was gone. Okay. So that's what Steve and Chris pointed out. Um, her being gone. And my question is, what is the significance of that? What is it? They talked about him processing quickly, him coming to that conclusion so fast. Well, hell, how do you know she gone that fast? You ain't even checked the rest of the area. You didn't check the rest of the land. You didn't check the house. You didn't go behind nobody else, and you came to that conclusion so fast. She's gone. So yeah, they pointed that out. And then when the Law Le got up there, and when Don got there and he was in the house, and they asked him for his phone and they asked him for his information and all that and above, Don wanted to go search in his car. He wanted to go to his car. Okay. Steve Chris pointed out too. He wanted to go to his car. He wanted to just get away. And I wanted to know, was that an excuse to get away? I don't know. Was it too much going on? I don't know. But you drove the car that day, so it wouldn't be no need to search the car unless you're referencing another car. That's why I wanted to know what car was he trying to get to look in. Because she wouldn't have been in the Subaru because you had it. So I want to know what car was it that he wanted to get to and look in. Because, like I said, he drove the Subaru and allegedly just got there. So she wouldn't have been in that. She would, so I don't get what he wanted to search, which car, and why he wanted to search the car. Because the law enforcement was there. They're searching the cars. They're searching the lane. They're blocking off street driveways. Okay. But yeah, he expressed that he really wanted to get out there. He wanted to get out there. He wanted to go talk to neighbors. He basically wanted to do Ellie work. I feel like he wanted to put himself in investigation. I think he wanted to put himself right in there. He wants to know everything that was going on. I feel that's exactly what Don wanted. He wanted to know exactly everything that was going on. And he didn't want to be left out. He wanted to know everything. But yeah, he did a lot of deceiving and deflection in this part 2. I'm about to move on to part 3 really quick. It was a lot. It was a lot. This one is a lot deeper, a little bit more deeper in the essay area. I'm gonna go a little bit in on this part 3, and because for one, it's interesting. It's very interesting. I would never have thought Don Wells would have had the courage, even after all this is going on, to call Chris McDonald back after you already called him. You called him back. That kind of blew me. It really did. It kind of blew me. I was kind of shocked. But so Don called Chris again. It's a new call. He talked about it in this last part, part 3. I think yesterday he went live. Yes, yesterday he went live. So he did Chris played a 3-minute call right in the beginning. Right in the beginning, he played a 3-minute call. And what I want to say right here is that narcissists can't help themselves. They will try and try and try to convince you of whatever it is they are believing, whatever point they want to get across. They can't help it. They just can't help it. It's a behavior that's not controlled, that's incontrollable. Okay. Excuse me. If you have not seen a narcissist straight face forward, you're looking at one now. Don Wells. Okay. So if y'all want to go hear the call, go over to the interview room and listen to it. He played in the very beginning. It's very interesting. Um, it's crazy. It's unbelievable. I can't believe he did it and did not think the one thing he don't want Chris to do is bring that to YouTube, and you know Chris is gonna do it. So why would you call him? I mean, why? I don't get that. I don't get it. I don't understand. If your lawyer told you to stop talking, why are you still talking? I don't get it. Is it that important to you how others perceive you and view you? Is it that important to you personally? Why isn't some of this important to you? Go look and try to find your daughter. Don't worry what no one else feels about you, because it's not about you. It's about your daughter. But anyway, so Don calls, cussing Chris out, accusing him of lying and making him look like he did. He said, Chris said, Don raped Trish. Okay? So that is why Don is calling, upset, cussing at Chris, accusing him of saying that. He says Chris twisted his words, but Chris, in my opinion, is not. We're listening to words of Don. Chris isn't twisting the words of the phone call conversation. Chris isn't putting words, adding them in the phone call. We're listening to Don Wells speak. This is you talking, bruh. We're listening to the words coming out of your mouth. Therefore, Chris can't twist up something that you've saying, that you're saying. So I didn't understand that. But that's what Don is saying, that Chris is twisting his words up. Okay? Don is upset no one is believing his theory, his side, and he's pushing his abduction theory. Okay? But he doesn't know what everybody really thinks. Okay? Because abduction is a possibility. It just puts your wife off the property. And that's something they don't want to admit to. But they can't have it both ways, in my opinion. You can't have it both ways. Anyway, let's keep going where we're going. But yeah, he's mad no one is believing his theory, his side. And it's not about Summer. This is now about Don's emotions. And this is what I'm observing. This is about Don's emotions. He's upset. He wants people on his side. From what I observe, you got a few people on your side over there where you revising your statements at. From what I understand, those people, they believe you. So I really don't know why he's upset, with Chris again, but you called him back. Anyway, let's keep going. So Don says Chris said he raped Trish. Chris only discussed at this point the stepsister. So far on his channel, Chris channel, we've only heard him address the stepsister and what Don has done to the stepsister. Okay. Now, I've never heard Chris address Trish until part 3. No, it's another girl. He never addresses Trish because he asked the third girl that was on a bunk bed to come out and call the police. Okay. So, yes, I haven't heard him address Trish. I think he might have said her name because of this conversation, but he's always talked about his conversation with the stepsister. That Chris talked to the stepsister and what they talked about. I've never per se heard him individually speak of Trish. Okay. Then So Don's accusing Trish of lying. Don's upset that Chris put Trish's statement on his show. So I'm wondering why is Don so upset that Chris shared Trish's statement or even addressed what Trish said on his show? I mean, this is his show. This is his show. So how can you tell someone how to run they show, or he wants to get everyone's statement, everyone's point of view, not just Don Wells' side. He wants to get everyone's point of view. You can't be just singly biased and only Don Wells' words and Don Wells' statement. He had to get Candace. He got Hunter's. He got Allie's. Okay, he got Jeannie's. Okay, he is not just Don Wells. So Chris has to get everybody's statement and go from there. Okay. He then starts to victim blame, and he even said that Trish initiated the molestation. Don went on to say that he was a kid and that he didn't know any better. He was a kid. He didn't know any better. And he said Trish initiated it. I would have thought, because he already confessed about the stepsister, I thought at first that they was talking about the stepsister, but he was really complaining about Trish. I mean, it's a couple of women that he allegedly essayed. I know one for sure, allegedly, but it's a couple of them that he supposedly essayed. But so Don speaks on about he was a child, he didn't know any better. He wants to point out who's wronged him. He doesn't understand why everybody's coming out now against him, and you had all this time. And he don't see that what made the victims come out. Your daughter's 5. That's when their abuse started. So that triggered something in them, and they thought about your daughter. That's what first came up, and then they called and reported it. Well, we know Jeannie did for sure. I don't know if anybody else reported it to law enforcement and told the story of what Don did, but we do know at least Jeannie did. Okay. He feels like they stabbed him in the back. And Don's way of thinking is just not logical here. It's not normal. I mean, these are victims. You've done something bad to them, something wrong to them. You are acting like they owe you loyalty, like they owe you silence, or like they owe you something. So I'm just really confused here on how he makes himself the victim, like these victims owe him. And it's just it's so confusing right there. I don't understand his thought process. But everybody, he's the victim. I don't know how, but he is. Now I do wonder, has he been assaulted? Because you would think, as much as he's allegedly been accused of, that something has had to happen to him for him to consistently do these things. I would think something has happened to him. So I don't know. That's something I would, maybe he might talk about in the future. I don't know. But I really would like to know if something was done to him, because You would think that's learned behavior. That's not something you just know. That's something that you've learned. But yeah, I don't think Don's thought process is normal. Um, and I'm wondering about Candace. Like, how is she really doing in all of this? Like, where's her mind at? How does she feel about all these victims and them coming out and accusing Don? Where's her mind at? Because you got kids with this man. You have a daughter with this man. So I wonder, where's Candace's thought process in this whole situation? What's on your mind, Candace? Um, yeah, I would love to know that. But in this 3-minute phone call on part 3 in the beginning, she's right there backing Don up. She's the cheerleader. Called Chris a what? A fucking idiot. So I guess she still supports him. She's still supporting her husband. So doesn't seem like, a lot of people feel sorry for Candace because she a victim of control and psychological and probably physical abuse here. She most likely is. Um like maybe she's still in that cycle because she's right there right now supporting Don and cheerleading him on, especially in that moment on that phone call. Okay. So Don goes on to say that they could have called the cops when he was in prison. I want to say they told Chris said that when Don got out of prison and when he came to that house, back to the house, that the girls ran in there and said he's been molesting me since I was 5, and the mom wanted to take the baby, the 12-year-old at that time, down there and file a report. So from what Chris said, I think they already reported it. Um, yeah, I recall him saying it. So it was already reported. But he says his proof, he says that line because why didn't they report me when I was in prison? So that's Don's proof that he did not do it. And that's what he's saying to Chris on this phone call. It's just sad. It's really sad that these victims went all this time without no justice. But yeah, Chris, I heard him say that the little girl told her mom and dad, and the dad went and looked for Don, and he was in the shed somewhere hiding. And something, in my opinion, should have been done then, as far as Don, with some type of charge for that. But I guess they didn't. I just don't understand why he didn't get charged for that if they went down there. So I want to look into that. Because how long would he been in prison? I wonder what the statute of limitations would have been up. I'm gonna find out if the statute of limitations would have been up. Because how long he was in prison, that be it. Because yeah, he shouldn't have had a charge if the mother took the child down there. I don't see why they wouldn't have charged Don with molestation, at least a sexual assault of a minor. You would have think. All right, let me move on because I did not like talking about this. Oh yeah. So at the end of the little 3-minute phone call, Don threatens to slander Chris every chance he gets. And Obviously Chris doesn't care, and neither does Steve. And they've heard it a million times before. People make threats, and I mean, you know, talk is cheap. So yeah, so that pretty much covers like the little 3-minute phone call. Oh, and for the people that watched that 3-minute phone call, did y'all observe that Christ wasn't in that call? That God left that whole phone call? Christ left that whole phone call. I think now we're starting to see the real Don Wills. No more hiding behind God. No more hiding behind God. I don't see that. But a lot of people knew he was hiding behind God as a front. He was using it as a cover. And I really do think Don is falling apart. I really think. Let me stop my cam. Let me smoke real quick. I do feel Don is falling apart. For sure falling apart at this point. Definitely. Because, he's all this time, he keeps talking about Christ and God, and you forgive others, and I forgive, and I do this, and I do that. But his family warned us about how Don does his crime, gets in trouble, he goes to God, then he gets back in trouble. He has to go to God again. This is something that they've been, Don's been doing for a long time, and everyone was saying that this was a front. So if you heard that phone call, you'll see that God was nowhere in that phone call. That Don Wells, the real Don Wells, how he really feel, that's what you hear. That's exactly what you hear. Don is really, lashing out. He's upset that everyone is not seeing things his way. Okay, everyone's not seeing things his way. He can't convince everybody to see things his way. Period. He just can't. And that's when the rage, you see the anger. Don wants the world to see him as a good guy. He really cares how the world sees him. This was not about Summer Wells. This was about Don's emotions and feelings. Don states, he's going to go on further into the part 3. Don states he repeatedly cusses the boys about the door. Okay, so Steve and Chris, they talked about that, about he blames the boys. Now in this part 3, you're gonna see Don blame a lot of people, everyone but Don. It's everyone's fault but Don. So he cusses the boys about the door. He blames the boys, deflecting. He's pushing toward this abduction theory. But if something's true, don't forget, you don't have to push it. You don't have to force an abduction theory. If it's true, then it's going to be true. It's going to be so. It's going to be proven because it's the truth. Okay? The truth doesn't need to be forced. It's just, it is what it is if it's the truth. So Steve and Chris also caught that pattern with the I don't know and I don't remember. And we all have heard that 1,000,000 times come out of Don's mouth from the very beginning. We're 2 months in. And we have repeatedly heard, I don't know and I don't remember. Okay. And they pointed out that goes to when Don gets stressed or caught in the area where he don't want to tell the truth about. Okay. That's when they observe the stress, the anxiety, and he starts saying he don't know, he don't remember, and then he starts overly explaining to get you to believe whatever it is he's trying to get you to believe. He also blames grandma for him being arrested last year. Okay. Um, he said that. If you go back and listen, she's the reason I got arrested. She told him I put real bullets in that muzzle loader. It's never Don's fault. Always projecting onto others. Steve catches Don, throw everyone under the bus, blaming others. And we've all seen it. We've been observed this pattern. We've been talked about this pattern. Before I believe that he even had Steve on before Chris had Steve on his platform, we talked about how he was throwing Candace under the bus. I remember we talked about how he told her blood test, but never disclosed his own blood test. Why would you throw your wife under the bus? And she just a cheerleading his ass on. And I wonder if she's even observing that he's throwing her under the bus like this. Are you even observing that he's slick throwing you under the bus? And he's putting things literally on Candace, which goes to some of us believing that it was an accident. Some of us really believe that it was an accident, that people panicked and it was an accident, and that Don is possibly covering up for Candace, having to fix everything. And that goes along with Don having to cover and put out a narrative to try to fix this, try to make this go away. Well, we're not stopping until we find Summer, so we're not going away no time soon. We're not stopping until we find Classic and Sincere. We're not going nowhere no time soon. We're not stopping until we bring Michael Vine home. We're not going anywhere soon. We're not stopping before we get Justice for Cash Gurney. We're not going anywhere soon. We're not stopping until we get justice for KJ. We're not going anywhere soon. So we'll just be here. We'll just be here. I'm just saying, we'll be here. But yeah, so they caught this pattern. And then they go on to talk about the statement that Don makes. I've always known something was going to happen to Summer. And Steve says he caught this laying down the foundation, that something was going to happen to Summer, like she's not alive. Like he always knew. And which was a telltale, because I don't know how you will always, that you would know something was going to happen to your child. But yeah, that's what he said. And Steve referenced that to laying down the foundation. He brings up Candace, blames Candace having to do with Summer being missing without stating it right out. But if you read between the lines, he brings up Candace consistently. But my question still remains, how did you know something was going to happen to your daughter? What was that feeling that you got that was in the pit of your stomach that made you feel like, was she always into something, or was she always hurting herself, falling down? Was she always left alone, left outside? I mean, what goes with it to make you feel like something was gonna happen to her? I mean, was she not cared for correctly by Candace? I mean, what are you not saying here? There's something, there's a reason why you felt that way. People don't just have feelings for no reason. They just don't come out of thin air. They don't just pop up. There's always a reason. But yeah, he's not stating it right out, but you can hear it if you read between the lines. And he always brings her up. If you say anything about an accident, he brings up Candace. Steve and Chris, they also address the intense love that Don felt, the need to tell that goes to the love is weird. It's not normal. The love that he has for Summer is not the same love he has for Candace. That's what they picked up in this phone call. Steve also addresses Don, implying that Summer had same feelings as he did. And then he also goes on to say that Summer knew something too, that something was going to happen. That he thinks Summer had that same feeling. So Steve and Chris asked, what 5-year-old knows they're going to die? And that's kind of, that's crazy. That's very wild. And yeah, I don't get that either. I don't know what 5-year-old will even think on that level that something gonna happen to them. So I didn't get that, but yes, that is that's a good question. That's new to me. Very new. Never heard that before. Never heard that before. Let's keep going. So Steve breaks down Don referencing when he got pulled over in Utah, how he ran into like he had a good rapport with a cop. They could have gave him more tickets when he was going 110 miles, and he talked about the good rapport with the cops, and they just basically referenced it to this phone call or this whole time someone been missing, and he just been having negative feelings about law enforcement. Okay, so they just kind of referenced it from his bad experience he had last year in Utah, coming to Tennessee, with everything he's experienced now with Summer being missing, and his rapport with the police now. Okay. So we're moving on. Don insinuates that drug dealers, by wanting to question them, but at the same time does not think that they've took Summer because they've been alibied and cleared. So they addressed that. We've also talked about that in our previous videos. But I wanted to know about the drug dealers. Why would they take Summer? I mean, are you in bed with them? Did you and Candace buy drugs from them? Did y'all owe these drug dealers? Did you owe them some money, some dope, some drugs? Have you been copping drugs from them? I mean, that will put you in a relationship with them to give them a reason to take Summer, because they wouldn't just take her for no reason, right? So that will put you and Candace somewhere in a relationship with these drug dealers for them to have a reason to take her. But, Don keeps going back and forth on that. No, they didn't. But then he switches up. He keeps switching up. But I think it's just a story, in my opinion. Okay, just a possible suspect he wants to throw out there to go towards the abduction theory. So we go on. Don continuously throws others under the bus. Steve did state that he was grasping for straws. Um, but my whole thing is, why are we even talking about this? I mean, because he stayed on that subject for a long time. The drug dealers explaining their history, explaining, the cars, just stayed on that subject, but yet there was clear. So I just think that was just a story, okay, a story. He goes on to talk about his co-workers as well. His relationship with his co-workers and their drug habits, all of that. Okay, but yet they've been cleared in Alibi. So we were stuck on that for another 10, 15 minutes. So he's just really, really, really grasping for straws, throwing things out. He really, really trying to find someone to put this abduction on, this kidnapping on. Okay. But one thing I have said and keep saying that the truth is in this somewhere. The truth is in the details. And we're gonna find it. We're gonna find it. The truth is in here somewhere. Especially going back to the beginning. The truth is in here, especially going back over Candace's statement, Hunter's statement, Allie's statement. The truth is in here. It's definitely in here. But Don slipped a few times unconsciously, not knowing he did. Steve and Chris called it a few times. But like I said, wherever Don and Candace's phone was that day, and they might even go back as to the day before, it, yeah, they're going to go and search all those places. So, I mean, yeah, they're gonna have to search sheds, construction sites, wells, disposal sites. They got a lot of places to search. Everywhere Candace Don's phone pinged. So I hope whatever they said to the police in their statement, it has to match up with their tech, as well as DNA, as well as everything they took that day. So Chris go ahead states one of his theories that Don Wells was at home and did go to work. And that was something that we talked about before. That he probably did go to work, but we don't know what time he got to work, how long he stayed at work, and what time he left work. That goes back to what I was saying about the technology. That's going to tell us when Don Wells got to work, how long Don Wells stayed at work, and what time he left. And if he left work, went home, and came back, that is going to tell us everything we need to know. So, like I said, it doesn't matter at all about his co-workers writing messages, co-workers writing statements, co-workers recording videos, talking. Don't matter. Doesn't matter. That tech is going to tell us. The tech is going to tell us. Period. And don't forget, Don already changed his statement and got co-workers to write messages and do interviews with people and persons, when all in all that don't matter, because that tech is gonna tell us. It's gonna tell them how many times did you go to work that day, when you got there, how long you stayed. It's gonna tell them everything. It's gonna tell them everything. So trying to get statements and producing messages means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. But this does go to Don need to prove to us, needing us on his side. He wants everybody on his side. But like I said, it doesn't matter about us being on his side. It matters that he needs to prove to law enforcement, because them the ones who's gathering all the evidence. Them the ones who's going to be the ones, if you did anything, arresting you. So you would need to be proven to them and showing them that you're telling the truth, that you didn't do it. Not to us. We're just people that's help assisting in finding your child. Yeah, we don't have nothing else to do with. Yeah, that's law enforcement job. Is to gather the evidence, put it together, arrest you, take you in. Then comes in the DA. So yeah, that's not our job. So we go on. Don displays fear that Chris asks Don, what do you fear? What's your worst fear? So Don goes on to say that he fears that this guy's going to get rid of evidence, and he associates Summer with evidence. Okay, disassociating himself completely. And I think that was good. It was a very good catch by Steve. So Chris catches another pattern. He says every time Don does a crime, he notices throughout this whole time with Don that he apologizes, goes to God, does it again, does a crime, does something he ain't supposed to do, apologize, goes to God again, goes back, does it again. And Chris brought up this pattern. But once again, don't forget, Don's sister, Don's family already told us about this pattern. He's been like this his whole life. He gets in trouble, he finds Christ, apologizes, he's cool for a little bit, he goes right back into whatever he was doing, he finds God, apologizes, and it's a cycle, a never ending cycle for him. Okay. Yeah. So he goes on, and Chris ends up talking about these different thugs and gang bangers that he deal with, that he's talked to and interviewed with. And he said, those people that they can be honest with you. They have respect. If you respect them, they respect you. Because Don wanted to call one of his coworkers like, they was a thug. But I don't think so. I don't think none of those people that associate with Don are thugs, or any real gangsters or real thugs. I don't associate none of them with those type of people. Okay, these more people are more like drug addicts, fiends. Yeah, if Don describes them the way he describes them, they're more drug addicts. I don't associate them with gangsters or thugs and nothing like that. But yeah, I just thought that was weird. So Chris asked Don, what was Summer wearing that morning? And Don says he's not sure. My question is, how you don't know? I mean, did you not look at your child when you got up out the bed? But I mean, I guess not. But they go on to say that, that's your last time with your daughter before she went missing. So you would recall seeing her. You would recall what she looked like. You would recall what she's wearing. You would recall those little details of your baby, because that was the last actual time, allegedly, that you saw her. But he skips that, says he don't know, goes straight into, oh yeah, that picture with her in the milk. Yeah, that's what she had on when she went missing. You don't know that for sure because he wasn't there, allegedly. So you don't know what she was actually wearing when she went missing, because that picture she had on the milk jug is not what's on the Amber Alert. Okay, So that's something that I'm trying to figure out. Did they have the wrong information? Because I thought it was like a short sleeve shirt with some bottoms and possibly no shoes or something like that. Yeah, so it was completely different, but I gotta check into that. That's something else I jotted down because yeah, that I don't think that's what they put on the Amber Alert what she last was wearing because that looked like a hot sweatsuit. And I got questions about this hot tracksuit that she had on. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay. But yeah, so he didn't know what his child was wearing in the bed with him. Um my question was why did Summer have on her first day of school outfit? She had on this hot jumpsuit and it was hot. It's hot here in Tennessee. So it's hot as hell. Okay. But she had on this hot tracksuit. Okay. And they say it was for her first day of school. So I mean I want to know why did she have it on and not wait for the first day of school? Why not save it for school? And somebody else had that same question, but it wasn't answered. But I really want to know why did she have that on instead of like a little shirt and some little shorts, to be cool for the summer, you know, and not on her hot long sleeves and pants. That was just a little off to me. But yeah, so that's a question that I have. So Steve notices Don throws Candace under the bus again, with expressing his love for Candace, for his love for Summer, which he should have for Candace. Talking about how, you know, Summer was always close with him since she was a baby, all the way up to now. Really, really being very detailed on that. Um, how she was very had love for him, and he said it felt so good. He was never loved like that, and you know, and it just blew him away. So they pointed out that, that goes back to the essay and it sounded, inappropriate. And he never speaks of Candace that way. And he don't. I mean, I've never observed him speak of Candace in that way. Only Summer. So they associated that with the essay relationship. Okay. And I don't think it's natural. I mean, my daughter is a daddy's girl, but he don't speak of her in that way. Um, no, it's just not natural in my opinion. It's not normal. Um, a daughter's love, it's just it gives you an eerie feeling. Okay, it's that unnatural. It gives you an eerie feeling. Um, so Steve go on to talk about the couple of times Don was caught essaying his family members. And the both times that he was caught essaying his family members, Don's excuse was he was sleepwalking. His dad caught him allegedly once, and then someone else caught him the second time. Y'all can go back and watch on the part 3 on the interview room. Chris stops and says that Don was caught twice, but he said he was sleepwalking when he was caught essaying his family members. And another thing Chris cleared up that I think it was I'm glad he cleared this up so we will know exactly a fact on the selling of the kids situation with Don Wells. So how it happened was, per Chris, he said Don got high, and this came from this is the real story of what happened from the family members. Okay, so it's still in the selling of the kids area. Okay. So Don got high, cop dope, left his babies there at the dope house with the dope dealers. Okay. He left, went back to the family. Family asked him, Don, where are the boys or where are the kids? They said he was so high out of his mind, he didn't know. So the family goes down by to the drug dealer, drug house. There goes the boys sitting there where Don left them. He got high. He bought the drugs, got high, and left without his boys. Just forgot them. Then he brought up another time when Don Wells was on a corner with a 6-month-old baby, one of his 6-month-old babies, with a sign saying baby for sale. Baby for sale. Okay. And then the family had to go down there and get that child too. So it's still in the area of attempting to sell your kid because he has a sign with a 6-month-old baby, baby for sale. So you trying to sell your fucking kid. And I'm assuming that he was high on this time too. I'm just going to say he had something. I mean, because you made a sign, it says baby for sale with your baby in your hand. So, no, he didn't attempt to sell his children for drugs. He got high, bought the drugs, forgot his kids in one instance. In another instance, he did write a sign, said baby for sale, and tried to sell the 6-month-old baby. Baby for sale. That's above my pay grade, okay? Insane. But it just shows you drugs turn you into a whole nother person. Okay? So we'll see if this story gets changed as well. Steve also addresses throwing Candace under the bus, which we called multiple times in the past. Don goes on to talk about her problems that y'all heard before. He talks about, when she drinks, I have to babysit her. She smokes and drinks when she go to bed. She don't do it during the day because she has to drive. She don't want a DUI. So he goes on to, he just really is talking about her and throwing her under the bus. He says he's clean. He's squeaky clean. But I want to say John told me that Don didn't test right too. I think we talked about it on my live with me and John. That because he only talked about Candace's drug test. He never talked about his drug test. He never told us his results. He only said he was clean. But he told us Candace's drug test was positive for marijuana. And I was like, well, why are you throwing your wife's business under the bus? Why would you tell us her blood test and not yours? But Steve and Chris pointed out something that makes so much sense. That is an obvious lie. He wouldn't know what the blood test is. When they took your blood, they would have to run your test. So you wouldn't know immediately what your blood test was or what your results were because they just took your blood. So it would take a while for his blood results and Candace's blood results to get back. And he would probably say hers is positive because he probably know she was smoking that day or recently probably. And that's what seems like why he probably said she was positive, But yeah, him just saying, yeah, and hers was positive. They don't know. He wouldn't have known for sure by what Chris, and I'm glad they said that because I didn't even think of that. And I know better. You know what I'm saying? I know better. So I should have thought about that. Like, yeah, Queen, they got to go run his blood. So he can't tell you if it's positive or negative for anything right now. They just took his blood that day. But yeah, so yeah, he wouldn't have known right away. So they brought up that that's probably an obvious lie, told by Don. because how would he know his results? They just took your damn blood. So he wouldn't have known that. But yet, yeah, so he still was throwing Candace up under the bus, you know. But yet Candace is backing up her Don, especially at the beginning of that part 3, calling Chris a fucking idiot, and you're backing up Don, but yet every chance he got in this interview, on this phone call, he was throwing you under the bus. The whole entire time. Threw you under the bus. So I'm just curious to know, how she feels and what she's thinking with all of this, his molesting allegations and his confession for Jeannie. What's going through her brain, and I think she forgave him. I think she's okay with it. And that's concerning for me. But I really think Candace is okay. Because when you hear them on a 3-minute phone call, it's like she's accepted it. It's like she's accepted that Don made a mistake. He was young. And that was it. She backed him up. She was calling Chris an idiot. She was supporting everything Don was saying in that phone call, which goes to her mind frame, her thought process. And she's supporting him. So she believes what he's saying. And that's concerns. I'm very concerned. I'm concerned about the boys' welfare. At this point, I mean, could it be she's still under his control? Yeah, it could. But at some part, has to not be sitting well with her. You would think as a mom, some part of this should be scary, concerning. She should have questions. You would think, but she's backed him up when he was saying what he was saying about what he did. He was young. The victim initiated it when the victim was 5. You're 12. And Candace was supporting this, and it was really scary. It was scary. Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. Very, very concerned. So Steve believes that it was a possible accident from a drug and alcohol abuse, and said it would cancel the abduction theory, the abduction hypothesis. It would cancel it. And I agree that, yeah, accident was one of the first things I thought of. Accident, or something went down and they covered it up. That's always been a possibility. And when we rediscovered that Candace might not have been on the property by the 911 call dispatch, that opens up the abduction theory. So I'm kind of in between two. I would say sort of in between 3, because you got Candace possibly, off the property, like the 911 dispatch says, her being off the property. Something could have happened to Summer being abducted, or Candace took Summer off the property. Okay, or an accident happened and everybody panicked. So those are the main possibilities here in this situation. And one of them does have the abduction, but it puts Candace off their property, which opens up where nobody would see the dogs. They wouldn't know what would happen because Candace wouldn't have been there. Neither would have died if he was at work. So that leaves the abduction theory wide open. So those are the possibilities. But Steve, possible things by just listening to this interview and everything he's observed, he's kind of formulating with the accident from the drug and alcohol. Maybe them being so out of it, not paying attention, something happened, they panic because they're high and drunk. It could be anything with drugs and alcohol. But yeah, he think it was an accident. Yeah. But Don, the whole time that Chris was asking about the accident, Don was really not trying to hear that. He just kept saying no. And he goes right back to Candace. No, it's not possible. Candace would have done the right thing. She would have called me and she would have called 911. You know? And then Chris said, yeah, she did call you. So we don't know what y'all really talked about or what y'all really discussed, but she did call you. But yeah, so Don is not trying to hear the accident. He kept, knocking it down. That's not what he was trying to hear. Every time Chris brought it up, giving him an out, he wasn't biting. He said, no. Why would we be looking for people on Facebook and searching and putting out photos? Well, I could think of a few killers and criminals and psychopaths that knocked off some kids and family members and get on TV and cry tears and put out photos and actually go out and hand out flyers. So, I mean, I can think of like 5 in my hand right now. But yeah, so he goes on to be like, no, why would we do this? Just more so trying to persuade Chris that no, not possible. Okay. Chris also catched Don putting Hunter on the property and putting him in as a suspect. So he asked Don, like, why do you think Hunter would do this? And he says that Hunter would do anything Allie asked him to. Anything Allie asked him to. Which, yeah, I don't even got nothing to say to that. Except for, I don't think Hunter did it. Okay? Other than I don't think he did it, that's all I can say to that. But yeah, so Don puts Hunter on the property by saying, he dropped off a dog. So he places Hunter on the property. And he feels like if Allie tell him to do something, Hunter's going to do it. And that's what Don basically explained to Chris. If Allie wants something done, Hunter's going to do it. Okay? So you even catch Don trying to throw in Hunter as well as a suspect. Okay? Anybody he can to take the fall or kidnap the abduct Summer, he's going to throw you in. And that's what you can see. He's threw at least a good couple people in throughout this phone, especially during part 3. At least 5. He didn't throw under the bus as the suspect. At least 5. Stephen Chris also observed his response on what should be done. When they ask him, what should be done to the person who has your daughter? And they feel like he was psychologically avoiding prison. That he feels like prison is worse than death, which I already said, that's impossible for Don to know. But he relates it as it being worse than death. He said he would leave it and put it in God's hands. Okay. He's avoiding accident theories. And Don's okay if it's just an accident. He just don't want to endure the consequence. So, in my opinion, that relates to some guilt, that you know something. You're guilty, or you know something, or you know who's guilty and you don't want them to suffer the consequence. You know something, you're guilty, you're covering for someone, and whoever you're covering for, you don't want them to do that time because you've been in prison and you know what it's like. So therefore, I'm getting that. It's almost like they're referencing it to Candace, possibly the cause of the accident, and Don covering for Candace. It's almost like you're referencing it, but it's just a reference. No one knows for sure yet because Ellie has to, obviously collect all the evidence and then make their move. Okay. But overall, Steve, listening to Don thinks, it's an accident. And we all know Don wants us to believe this abduction theory. Y'all already see what he's doing on Facebook. He's taking in all these suspects from people on Facebook, and they're giving him their records, their arrest charges, their previous charges, and they're giving it to Don, and he's running with it and bringing it to YouTube or anyone that'll listen, and he's going on. So that's what Don thinks. That's what he wants. I want the evidence to talk to me. I believe everyone's a person of interest until Summer Wells is brought home. Yeah, everyone's a person of interest. No one's been cleared from this circle of Allie, Hannah, Don, and Candace. No one's been cleared. Everyone's still a person of interest. And I believe the evidence is going to show us what Summer is. And I believe the evidence is going to show us, once we find her and they process that baby, who did it. We're going to know. I'm just hoping the sooner the better. It's best for us. If we find her now, we'll get more evidence, obviously, because her body will be a little bit more preserved than it's staying out there in these weathering conditions, and it just deteriorates. Okay. So that's my concern, is the longer she's out here not being found, that's the longer she is deteriorating. We're not getting all the evidence that we could have. We're not going to have of finding out who did it, or whatever. Because at this point, I'm being honest, this is a recovery. This is just, a recovery. Okay. But yeah, it's all possible. It's a possible abduction, possible accident, somebody trying to have something and did something nefarious to Summer in that house. It's all possibilities. But like I said, me and John are working on definitely this 3-hour gap. And we are really getting close to a really good theory that's almost likely that it happened. Just filling in the blanks right now. Oh, it's a couple more fun facts that I wanted to tell you guys that I think is very important that Chris did mention. Oh, so Steve, real quick, before I go to the facts. Candace and Don, Steve did talk about how he felt like they guilted the boys. They put a lot of blame and guilt on them, like they're responsible for someone being missing. And I do want to say, I did catch that, and that's very messed up. I think it's very messed up. Um, and I believe that the boys are probably better off where they are right now. Um, because something just not right with these two. So I believe they're better off where they are. And I hope they are together right now. Um, but until they get situated, I just feel it's safer for the boys to be where they are because it's just too much going on with Don and Candace at this time. Um, and I don't think it's safe for none of the kids to be there. Steve also believes the boys were coached as well to tell police whatever Don wanted them to say. And I thought that was interesting, very interesting. I almost can believe that. Because someone said that in the beginning that they think Don coached those boys to say what he wanted them to say. So I almost can believe that. It's very possible he did. Then Don also talks about Summer being um when Don's asked about Summer being alive, Don goes on to talk about his dreams, which we already know he's referencing finalization, that she's deceased in heaven. He refers to her being like she's in heaven. He brings up heaven. She was in heaven. She was so beautiful, you know. So basically, in other words, Don thinks his daughter's dead. Okay. He also even brings up that, one time he said she was dead and buried, possibly dead and buried, maybe dead and buried. Then he says not far down the road. So he references a few times about her being deceased. Okay. Then he adds on his dream, Candace's dream, to Facebook of dreams. So Don, in other words, believes his daughter is dead. Also, in the beginning, he talked about resurrection. He'll see her in the resurrection. Also, referencing Summer is deceased. So I just want y'all to keep an open mind and, you know, see, just kind of putting out things that I've seen, new things I didn't see that Stephen Chris pointed out. So y'all can just get an overall view of everything. So Don doesn't understand why Jeannie and Marie turned on him. So he makes that personal, makes it about him. I don't think Don understands that and that's why I don't think he's normal. His mind is not normal. He doesn't understand why they're coming out and saying these things. I don't think he understands that what he did was really not right. So I don't think that's why, because he says he don't understand why Jeannie Marie turned on him. So it makes me wonder, does he even feel like what he did was wrong? But some people think that they think that Don knows that what he did was a crime, that he just won't accept it. So I think that's interesting. Okay. He just don't see anything wrong with it. Like he acts like he don't know where this is coming from. And the main thing Jeannie was saying was that when she found out someone was missing, she got scared, especially when, she's 5 years old. Jeannie went back in her head, got feelings all over from what Don did to her. And she just knew or felt that maybe he did something to Summer. So that's what made her come out. But Don is not understanding that. He's not understanding that's what made her come out. He's feels like they turned on him. That's what Don feels. He feels like they turned on him. He's taking it a whole nother way. He's making himself out to be this victim, and it's just beyond me. It's really beyond me. But yeah. So he making himself as the victim here. Okay. Another thing I want to that Chris broke down was Jeannie is not married to her first cousin. Okay. So Chris verified that, and he said that was a lie. She's not married to her first cousin, first blood cousin. So everybody can know the truth that is not true. She's not married to her blood cousin or first blood cousin. Okay? So everyone will know that. And I think that's all I wanted to cover. And that was the end of part 2 and 3. It was a lot of information. I didn't want to overlook or miss anything. It was a lot of information. Make sure I don't miss anything. He also goes on to victim blame and said that, she initiated, she wanted it. Yeah. So something wrong up there. Okay. Something's not right. But yeah, he goes on to say that she initiated. Yeah. It was her fault too. When we know better, because we know a cycle of abuse. Okay. Also, the last thing, Don confessed to his dad, told family about, well, we already know Don confessed to his dad about assaulting the girls in his family. Okay. But allegedly, Don told his family about a 17-year-old girl. So that's the 17-year-old girl people are running around talking about. But Chris didn't go no further than saying that the family, that he told the family about a 17-year-old girl. There's a 17-year-old girl out here. I don't know if he's had sex with her or if that's his girlfriend. I have no clue. But all Chris said was that Don told the family that there is, on top of him confessing, that there is a 17-year-old girl out here somewhere. And that's where he went. He didn't go no further to say what their relationship was, what their relationship is. If Don did anything, he don't go no further than that. So I have no idea. Okay. And I'm pretty much, I mean, I hope there are not more victims, but the rate we're going here in this case, it just might be more victims. So there might be more people coming out, and it's sad. It's sad. But y'all remember this: keep the victims in y'all prayers. We want justice for Summer. We want her found. We want her brought home, regardless of the situation. Regardless. And it's time to get boots on the ground. I mean, while we wait on law enforcement, it's time to. We see these red flags. We know what they are. Let's address them. We already addressed them. And let's move forward and find this baby. Okay. So yeah. So for the ones that's gonna be searching this weekend, y'all already got my contact information. I think I've talked to a few of you guys already. So yeah. So we're gonna keep it on the low of where we'll be searching this weekend. Yeah. So this pretty much is the end of the video. I'm just we're just waiting on law enforcement right now to come back with any evidence, and then we'll go forward with that. Until then, let's keep searching and let's keep doing everything we can. Let's keep Summer out there. Keep her name out there. And let's do everything we can to bring this baby home. Because at the end of the day, she's not here. And we're still trying to find her. We still want answers and we still want to bring this baby home. So thanks to my viewers. Shout out to y'all. Hope y'all have a great, wonderful night. Shout out to John Q. And shout out to all the people that's been assaulted by Don Wills. Y'all in my prayers. And I hope y'all are coping the best way y'all can. And I know this is just a lot. It's just a lot right now. But I thank y'all. And I'll be back with another video tomorrow. Because we got other cases that we got to cover. So I love y'all. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.